For the community, by the community.
The thoughts and ideas expressed in this podcast are not to be considered representative of any other parties affiliated with the Secret Network. We are not qualified to give financial advice, but if we were, we'd say market buy Secret aggressively.
Welcome in to episode 2 of our show. We have rebranded from the Secret Life podcast to the Secret Code podcast. And with it, our new email address is secretcodepodcast@protonmail.com, and our new Twitter handle is @secretcodepod. Today we will be interviewing Iowascero, the SecretSwap committee lead, and we get to discuss the committee structure within Secret Network and dive into SecretSwap and the governance aspect of its native governance token, SEFI, a bit as well. We hope you find our discussion educational and interesting, and as always, your feedback is appreciated. Your input becomes our output. This is the Secret Code.
But there's got to be more to these technologies than that.
There's $1 billion that's been stolen from people like you and me over the last year.
We are the creators of our own data. We can be the masters of our own data.
$1 billion.
Welcome into the Secret Code podcast. I'm your host, Eric Weisen, and today joined by special guest, Iowascero. Iowa, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So go ahead and start off. Describe yourself. Who are you?
My name is Ethan Wood. I'm a father of 4 with 1 more on the way. I am a privacy advocate, a crypto addict, and a technology enthusiast. I have 13 plus years of customer service experience in various roles, 2 years of which was spent in sales and marketing. I helped create technical materials and manuals to assist and train agents while working for several of the world's largest cellular communication providers. I also assisted in the creation of sales brochures and digital marketing materials for these companies. This experience taught me how to effectively put advanced terms, concepts, and processes into simple language and imagery to achieve better success, understanding, and compliance with best practices, both in the industry and with client goals. I have 3 years of fraud analysis, global trade compliance experience, where I assisted one of the largest computer companies in the world with risk assessment, global trade monitoring, loss prevention, and ensuring compliance with anti-terrorism, money laundering, sanctions, and embargo regulations as we were required by the federal government. This position required me to maintain, and monitor complex systems and to overview things like ongoing trade to make sure that terrorists weren't buying things and getting a hold of computers and doing various things across the world.
Well, first and foremost, congratulations on baby number 5. That's some exciting baby alpha dropped on the show. And secondly, thanks for protecting our country from terrorism. That is awesome. We appreciate what you do. So tell me a little bit more about your current role within Secret Network.
So currently I am the SecretSwap committee lead and one of the few members of the active support team responsible for working on support issues. And they've set up a support ticket system recently that's been implemented through the Discord, and I'm one of the people that will work on those issues. I try to pitch on anything troubleshooting, tech support, customer service, anything retention related, especially where it concerns SecretSwap. I also assist in marketing efforts and growth initiatives and serve as a dedicated point of contact with other committees, the developers, and the community at large.
Pretty much you're the guy to go to if anyone's having any issues.
I'm the guy regarding SecretSwap. There's another gentleman by the name of Mr. Garbanzo, who is a wonderful contributor to the community and probably like the guru know-it-all. The resident, he knows everything, man. I go to him for help all the time, and he's probably one of the greatest contributors to the network in regards to support. But I am one.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you guys helping out and keeping up with the user interface for people who are new here trying to get involved. That is awesome and important. A little bit more about yourself, a little bit deeper to connect to the audience. What are a couple non-generic characteristics that uniquely describe you that maybe you'd want to explain to your great-great-grandchildren? That's the example I used last episode. So.
Perfect. I'm a tech nerd at face, but I'm a hippie at heart. My most formative experiences, the first 5 years of my life approximately, were spent surrounded for miles and miles and miles by woods. In that time, I fell in love with Mother Nature, and I've always made it a priority to connect with, respect, and honor the earth. I believe sustainability is the key to survival of the species, and ecological stewardship is the duty of everyone. These are values I intend to instill in my children, and I hope they instill this love and respect in my bloodline indefinitely. The second being that I have a vivid imagination and I'm an avid reader. I grew up a bookworm and was reading at a college level in elementary school. I think it's important to keep our imaginations alive so that we can better think outside the box and conceive of unconsidered alternatives.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm all for sustainability. I don't quite have that hippie nature myself. My wife and I are just really proud to make it from where we came from to the suburbs. That's really our lifelong dream.
Right? Even if I was rocking Gucci, man, I'd still go out to the woods every once in a while.
So, how did you first discover Secret Network?
So that's kind of a funny story. Ian of Secret Nodes was a friend of a friend, and I knew of him when we were younger, and he had told my buddy and I to buy Bitcoin way back when it was like dirt cheap. We didn't listen to him at the time. It was just like a random phone call. I had no idea who he even was. And a great deal of time went by, and the cryptosphere progressed, and I continued along in my professional life. And eventually, my buddy brought him up again a couple years ago, and he described him as wildly successful. And it went on to say that he just made a boatload of money. And I looked at the price of Bitcoin, and I about crapped my pants. And I'm not going to lie to you, it made me a little suicidal. So from there, I began researching everything crypto related. I deep dived for all the information that I could find for several months. Before I ever even bought any crypto, I spent about 3 months paper trading to get my bearings and really feel comfortable with throwing my money around before I bothered even investing. But I did spend like just an insane amount of time just learning about all these different coins and technologies and how they all work, and just like submerging myself in a probably unhealthy level. But that's just kind of how I do things. I either do it 110% or I don't do it at all. I will not give you half of anything.
Oh, that's awesome, and I appreciate that. And I think that's kind of true for a lot of the people that are actively involved in crypto. I think to get to the point where they're making that step, it's because they've gone head over heels through that rabbit hole to the point where it's like, this is life now. And that's I've been there for a couple of years. I started getting interested in 2017. What year, by the way, was this when you rechecked the price of Bitcoin and freaked out?
I think like maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that. Somewhere in that ballpark, somewhere a while back. And that's kind of where the story continues, actually, because after I heard about that, I did my deep dive, and then I was curious if I could like get some insider info, because I didn't really understand a lot of the deeper inner workings of how crypto works. I figured maybe I could get some alpha or something. So I had my buddy set up a phone call with Ian, who was just at that point, he was just his friend. I didn't really know him at all. And he just kind of gave me a quick elevator speech on Secret Network. And then I started to look into Secret Network specifically. And the more I researched and considered, the more I understood the value that this network has to offer to the world, just in general, in terms of technology and just the way that it could change things and protect people and give people more power than they ever had over their finances and their information and their data. And I was hooked. That was it.
I gave a short elevator speech in the last episode, and it's worked on a lot of people. I'm curious. I mean, we're gonna have Ian on the show eventually, but do you remember some of the talking points that were on that elevator speech that got you involved and interested?
Definitely the Uber reference, the just the concept, I think, of decentralized Uber, and how you would want to keep your information private and secure if these technologies are actually going to be implemented in our daily lives. And specifically just the privacy aspect and the interoperability for me. It was, because I was already interested in Ethereum and a bunch of other things. And I had looked at Monero and was a big fan of Monero at that point, held some. And I didn't realize that there was privacy tech that could do more. I didn't realize that there was an interoperable network of privacy tech. And once I got into that, it was just like, this is the end all be all for me.
You're absolutely right. And it's crazy how many people don't realize this, or how many people will overlook it and just kind of assume that things will be fine because they're used to things being fine for the users, and that, oh, well, I'm sure Ethereum will get privacy eventually, not realizing how expensive and difficult that would be.
Right.
Ian definitely led you the right direction. Good job finding such a golden project that early in crypto. Most of us, it takes a couple of duds before we find the right way, which all the people getting involved in 2021, starting with Dogecoin and Shiba Inu or whatnot, maybe they'll turn into something vastly successful in the future. But right now, it's on Robinhood and it looks cheap because they don't understand market capitalization yet. So we all start somewhere, but eventually we hopefully find gems that will actually be transformative of the future, because blockchain is going to make life more efficient. And I believe that society tends to gear from chaos towards efficiency until there's a vast event that shakes the world. And I think this is the next step.
Yeah, well, and having dealt in data and confidential information and all that, especially in fraud work, I know the importance of protecting people's privacy and making sure that your funds are safe and that you're secure. And you just can't have that if everybody can see your finances and everybody can see what you're doing all the time.
So you went from a year and a half ago, barely even thinking about crypto, getting into the rabbit hole, and now you're already a committee lead. What did that process look like?
Yeah, so I just threw myself in head first. Like I said, I don't do anything halfway. There's no 50% with me. So I just, as soon as I came in, I just immediately sought out the secret agent program. I saw that that was a thing, and I saw that they have awareness meetings, and I just started going. And as soon as that, every meeting they talk about things that are going on that you can get involved in, things that you can participate in, things that you can do now. And a lot of times they're offering like bounties and stuff. Like can be a lucrative opportunity. So that was just really enticing to me. It was just to get involved in a project that I'm passionate about and to maybe even be compensated to do something I would probably already do anyways. So I just got super into it, and I went to every committee meeting, and I helped out every committee wherever I could, taking up jobs and just doing stuff for people, and just trying to make myself available and making myself a presence in the community. And yeah, things just developed from there.
That's awesome. Paul and I have been in the community for 4 years, and we haven't taken that step up. We haven't gotten involved. And so we've kind of seen your onset, and then all of a sudden you're involved in the Telegram, and then all of a sudden you're running committees, and we're like, wow, good for you, dude. And you're one of the key voices that has been encouraging me to get a podcast rolling and get me to take that next step. So thank you. Thank you very much for that, Iowa.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I guess, is that committees there's no barrier there. Anybody can come in, anybody can participate. I didn't have any friends on the inside when I started out. I didn't have any buddies up top. I don't know Tor personally or anything like that. I was just some random guy that came in and had passion for the project and a willingness to work. And that's it.
And I think people see the word committee and they're like, bureaucracy, closed gates. I'm not official enough. I don't have that kind of a time commitment. But now that I'm getting involved in the podcast and I'm trying to listen in more, I started attending these committee meetings, and it's super informal. You just turn on your Discord, and even if you're on mute, even if you're doing something or at work, you could just be there and listening and staying up to date on things. And that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think most committees would allow you to be, you can be a member of the committee, you can be an active contributor without necessarily even attending the committee meetings. As long as you stay in touch with the committee lead, know what's going on and are contributing. I mean, I don't see any reason why you would have to attend the meeting necessarily to be a committee member. And that's one thing that most people don't understand.
There's no formal handshake. There's no application process, full KYC.
No, not that I ever experienced, and not in my committee. That's for sure. We do not KYC.
If you made it all the way to the top without having to learn the secret handshake and wear the special uniform, then it must not be that formal. So should be encouraging people who are just getting involved and want to take a next step or learn more. I know we're starting to get in touch with the education committee, and that's being exciting because we want to learn more and we want to be able to spread more information, and there is a committee for that. So while we're on the subject of committees, how many committees are there?
There are 11 total, including mine, 11. Yep.
All right, and your committee is the SecretSwap committee, right?
Yes, sir.
That's the one that I've been going to the most often and am excited about. I love using SecretSwap. I'm a huge advocate.
I greatly appreciate having you every time you come, and I appreciate anybody that comes. I mean, I think we can all make that protocol truly great. I think SecretSwap is a wonderful DEX. There's no AMM like it.
Oh, yeah. It's truly revolutionary. I see people excited about Osmosis. I'm like, yeah, the UX, UI is cool, but SecretSwap is new. It's vastly different than Uniswap and SushiSwap. We have hundreds of clones of things that do the same thing in different ways or on different platforms. SecretSwap is new. Well, we will get more into SecretSwap pretty soon, but on the subject of committees, what are the different committees so that people who are listening, they're like, oh, well, maybe they'll hear something that maybe is more aligned with their strengths that maybe they can get involved in or listen in on if it fits their schedule.
Perfect. Yeah. The awareness committee, that's kind of like our grassroots marketing committee. The analytics committee, which is responsible for analytics, statistics, the charts and graphs that you see on secretanalytics.xyz. All that is generated by the analytics committee, and they maintain the APIs and all that stuff. They do a lot of technical work. The developers committee, which is made up of developers, so that's a really involved committee there. The education committee, which is responsible for the creation and maintenance of education materials for the network. BizDev committee, which kind of deals with higher level outreach to like large partners and business development in general. The design committee, which deals with designing marketing materials, things like that for the network, the Secret Network website. A lot of those designs come from the design committee or individuals associated therewith. The infrastructure committee, which is responsible for maintaining infrastructure for the network. That's like our node runners. They all meet there. The governance committee, which is where network governance matters are discussed. The website committee, which is directly responsible for the oversight of the website. That's kind of like a working group for maintaining the website and getting things added and changed and just kind of honing things out there as a decentralized effort. And the SecretSwap committee, which is my committee, which is a support arm for SecretSwap specifically. It's a product specific committee. We'll get more into that here in a little bit. And then the International Growth Committee is the final one. And that's the committee responsible for kind of like awareness efforts and marketing efforts abroad in primarily non-English speaking countries.
We need it to not just be a Western or English speaking protocol. Like, this is important to the entire world, and it's important that we diversify. Thanks for enumerating those committees. And for people to get involved, all you have to do is just jump in on the Discord. And if you check the description of the podcast or the tweet that you heard this on, I've got a link to the Discord right there. So jump in, get involved. I know we kind of skipped over Secret Agency. We'll be getting into that in a lot more detail in a couple future episodes. But while you're there on the Discord, check in on Secret Agency. You can literally get paid just to help share a tweet or to learn something or to get involved on social medias. Like, it's really easy, and you get rewards just for your time and effort. So it's a really neat program.
And it's a wonderful gateway to broader opportunities. That is 100% how I came up in this ecosystem, is just becoming more connected with everyone, learning everybody involved, and getting known myself.
You're a hell of a secret agent, bud.
Thank you, sir.
So what do the committees do? What separates them from a bureaucracy? What is their purpose, and what are their roles?
Right. So they support the network by providing working groups of dedicated individuals who have committed. That's the committee. What people really should hear there is commit. They're just committed individuals who provide their time and effort to bettering the network in their assigned capacity. So for instance, like we said, the website committee helps build and maintain the Secret Network website. Awareness helps spread broad awareness and marketing of the network. Analytics helps maintain the front and back end components, etc.
What goes on behind the scenes in a committee? Like, I see that you guys do a weekly call on Discord that you catch in and give updates, but how do you assign tasks? What do you have to do as a committee lead on a week-to-week basis? What goes on in the committees behind the scenes? What connections are there to the foundation? What's mandatory to keep you guys up and functioning and funded?
Basically, the first thing I like to address is what committees do. They provide working groups of individuals who have committed themselves to provide their time and effort to the network. There's not like a minimum engagement or something for that, unless you're a committee lead and it's specified in your charter. Like, my charter specifically states that I'll work a bare minimum of 15 hours a week. However, I work way more than that. And more like, if you ask my wife, I would say more like 40 to 60. If you ask my wife, it's more like 70 to 90. But yeah, basically a lot of it is just different meetings, and basically a lot of it, we're in a decentralized ecosystem. So there are different challenges that come with a decentralized ecosystem. You've got a bunch of different people all working on different things, and we all have to coordinate together. So there's a lot of different meetings, as you can tell, 11 different committee meetings, and a lot of things going on at any given time. With each initiative, there's tracking of that. There's spreadsheets that kind of keep track of the open projects that people can take part in from each committee. You know, how much effort you put in is up to you. What you take on is up to you entirely. It's all under your control. How much you want to get involved is up to you as an individual. And on a high level, behind the scenes, as a committee lead, most of my time is spent doing the duties that were described in my charter, i.e. providing support for SecretSwap, making sure that users that come in have the support they need. And also, I maintain the SecretSwap Twitter account, and I'm responsible for administrating several of our social media platforms for SecretSwap as well.
Well, thank you for all you're doing for the SecretSwap committee. I know I personally have loved tuning into those voice calls and just learning everything that's going on there, and really talking and helping build the future, at least the ideation of the future of SecretSwap committee. I mean, we are getting governance soon, and I'm going to ask you some questions about that in a little bit. But just the idea of kind of having like our own platform, our own future that isn't written yet, and being one of the many voices that can help direct it. Like, our opinions actually matter right now. I'm from California. My vote doesn't matter. But now for once, it really will, and that's kind of neat. But you have brought us to the section of our podcast, the new section that wasn't on our first episode, but will be with all our new guests, and that is the viewing key. Let's look into the viewing key. The question isn't why do you have to make one on Secret Network? The question is why don't you everywhere else? Welcome to the first rendition of the viewing key, where we are going to try to surprise our new guests and hopefully stump them, because one of our missions with this podcast is to bring education to everyone, including those that are masters and high up in the Secret Network already. And the way we're going to try to do that is to bring questions from aspects of the Secret Network that they aren't currently associated with. We're hoping we could stump them. We might have prizes later on. We're not quite there yet. But We'll see how you do. So, your question for the viewing key. The types of possible on-chain proposals in secret governance include text proposals, spend proposals, and this. Is it A, an ask proposal, B, a parameter proposal, C, consensus proposal, or D, an elopement proposal?
Parameter.
That is correct. Good job staying involved and being involved in all the committees. That does make you a great person to go to in the telegrams. Man, you were quick with that too. For the record, he was absolutely not prepared with that. I was really hoping I could stump him. And to learn more about the governance on Secret Network and how on-chain proposals work, check the episode description or the tweet that you saw this episode on. And there's a link provided to a nice write-up by the education lead, Secret Agent Dum-de-Dum. And he did an excellent job writing up how the proposal and deposit work, voting, tallying, and stage 4 of the implementation, which includes text proposals, parameter proposals, and spend proposals. Not elopement proposals, although I did like the idea of a marriage proposal being a little bit more secret.
Nice.
All right, now that we've concluded our first game show, let's get back to discussing SecretSwap particularly and some exciting developments with that. So for newer listeners who might not be familiar, SecretSwap does have its own token, a SNP20, which is kind of like an ERC20 version that exists on the Secret ecosystem, and that is SEFI, or some people call it SEFI, which is short for Secret Finance. It has a maximum supply of 1 billion. It's currently a bit over 200 million of that, and will reach its max supply after 4 years, so another 3.5 years or so. And as governance gets rolled out really soon, that will be the governing token of the SecretSwap platform. So kind of like how Uniswap has the Uni token, but it may eventually have also more roles in the Secret ecosystem than that. How else would you explain it? And what do you think is the current purpose of the SEFI token?
So right now we're just in a preparatory phase. It's so new that the governance hasn't even been rolled out yet. I don't think people understand that. I mean, it's a DEX coin that's sub 10 cents right now. That's insane. We're just getting started, and that governance should be rolling out. I don't have a firm date for you on that, but I can tell you that it will be very soon, within the next probably month or so. I know there were some technical issues that held the developers back on that, but it's on the top of their priority list, and they are working to get that pumped out. And what that means for the average user is that you'll be able to take part in this expanding private DeFi. You'll be able to shape the future of what the protocol looks like. You could make decisions for things that will be happening and things that will be offered as potential changes on the protocol, and be able to offer potential changes yourself if you're a brainy individual.
Your vote's actually going to matter. No, that is super cool. And one thing I want to let the listeners know, whenever we talk about price, obviously with a disclaimer, we aren't giving financial advice here, but also whenever you see a price in crypto, stocks, anything, do look at the market cap. The market capitalization is multiplying the price by the supply. So something like Dogecoin might look cheap when there's a supply of billions and billions of tokens, whereas something like Wi-Fi might look really expensive when there's only 30,000. So specifically when dealing with CeFi, there will be a maximum supply of 1 billion tokens. Right now there's about 200 million, and having a price of like 3-4 cents at the time of airing this has with a market cap under $10 million, even though there's over $30 million of liquidity, and it's a groundbreaking exchange. But I'm currently under the impression that the price will go up substantially in the future, and that this is a pretty cool opportunity.
Absolutely. I mean, it's got cross-chain architecture as well. You know, we've got bridges to Ethereum and Binance. There's a Monero bridge in the works. We've got a Cosmos bridge coming through, a Polkadot bridge. And actually, it was just recently announced on Twitter, there's a Harmony bridge in the works as well. And we all know about the Terra bridge that's coming too. So, I mean, there's so many opportunities for stuff to flood into this ecosystem and to use the DEX and to experience the front-running resistance and the private trading.
That's one thing, hearing the tagline for the last couple months that we're going to be the privacy hub and liquidity hub for privacy and the blockchain. It's another thing to watch it being built in front of our eyes and gaining ownership of it. Like, I think CeFi is more of stock than most crypto is, because you're actually taking ownership of a specific product. And with governance rolling out, there's different opportunities to capture value and to own assets on the chain. If you check the forum at forum.scrt.network, there have been multiple approaches, multiple posts. I've even written one about different ways that we could capture value and whether we do a buyback and a burn, or whether we have a certain section of fees go to actual ownership that's split amongst SeFi stakers that can give the token inherent value.
Absolutely.
Yeah, lots of very interesting stuff on the horizon, and it's going to be neat to watch it roll out and to take part in rolling out. So if you are interested in SeFi, you can get it on SecretSwap. And if you want a liquidity provide on SecretSwap, you'll actually earn that as your form of rewards. You can get up to, I think, 80, 90% APY right now.
Absolutely. And if you have any questions when you're doing that, feel free to check out the documentation at docs.secretswap.io as well.
Okay, I didn't actually know that. Thank you. I will look that up. So with the governance rollout that's going to happen probably within the next month or so, what makes you most excited and what makes you most nervous?
Well, what makes me the most excited is the potential for people to come together and to put all of our minds towards building a better SeFi and a better SecretSwap. Just the potential for all those people to come in and to collaborate effectively and to have a system to work out these issues. And that's kind of a double-edged sword, you see, because when all these people come together, we all have differing opinions and we all have different ideas of how things should go down. So as long as we can collaborate effectively together and we can have civil discourse, I'm excited for what can be accomplished. I mean, the sky is the limit on that.
Yeah, so I've got a background in philosophy. Everyone loves to sit back and think about how would you make the perfect society? How would you start a governance? And it's kind of weird being able to kind of set one up in the future, whether we make it a DAO or whether just really anything that we can choose to do as a group by majority rules of how to set up a brand new governance. It could be something that copies something else. It could be something that's completely brand new. It is a very unique time in an ideation stage. And honestly, it's fascinating.
Right. And another thing to be aware of, too, is SeFi itself is a secret token, so it is private. That's one thing to be aware of. And so since it will be used in governance, it'll be introducing, I believe, the first governance system with private voting, to my knowledge. I'm not aware of any other blockchain that has a private voting system for their governance module. So that's like a first. That's a flag on the moon there.
Provably accurate private voting. Man, I wish the United States had this.
Right?
So what do you think is the biggest challenge for SecretSwap right now and going forward in the near future?
So I think it's perception. This comes to us internally with our ability to come together and work towards common goals, our ability to set aside our differences, roll up our sleeves, and actually get to work in whatever way we individually can better support the network at large, and preferably the SecretSwap protocol. I'm a little biased there, but many hands makes the burden light and easy. We've had a great deal of division over issues in the past, and governance is a great step towards instituting a process to keep these bottlenecks and barriers from hampering us as we go forward. I think a voting mechanism allows issues to come to a resolution, for us to determine what is the status quo, what is the consensus, and then to move forward. And I think that gives us a great path moving forward to build out SecretSwap in a way that everybody is content with, everybody is happy with, everybody is cohesive on, and we can all take one direction and move forward. Secondly, we have an issue there with perception of the protocol, our visibility. That's another thing that I think is probably a big barrier at the moment. I don't think it'll always be that way. I think once these bridges open and people start to see more of Secret Network, more privacy projects, they see that bridge with Monero and the things coming through the pipeline right now, I think our visibility is going to go up significantly. But right now we're under the radar. This is like, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, this is not financial advice, but in my opinion, discovering SecretSwap right now is like discovering a diamond mine that no one else knows about.
Yeah, I think Paul did a great job on the last episode talking about the importance of privacy and how its negative connotations are kind of misguided. The way I'm choosing to look at it is as programmable transparency, where you do make transparent what you want to, and it's the only way that you actually have that option of sharing what you want with who you want instead of with everyone. The idea of needing a viewing key to see what's going on instead of everyone always having it, which is what's going on everywhere else. And people think of privacy projects like Monero and Zcash, which are fantastic for their functions, but not as privacy for smart contracts, which is brand new and people haven't thought of. Because if you're reading into Cardano or Ethereum or anything else, you're probably not hearing anything about privacy because they don't have it and they know they can't have it and they're not anywhere close to having it. And so they act like their auditability is only a plus. And I think people assume that because secret is in the name, because privacy is inherent in Secret Network, that they lose all the benefits of auditability, which do exist. There are great things about having something that's provably consensus. The idea of knowing that the vote is real and authentic. Like, it's not going to be manipulated. It can't be. The idea that Bitcoin can't be hacked, like it'd be really difficult to do a 51% attack on Bitcoin. So you mentioned some of the bridges coming out like Harmony and Monero and Terra, and we talked about some of them on the last podcast, but Harmony is obviously a new one that's super cool. What specific assets are you really excited to see on SecretSwap that aren't already on it?
So my specific one asset that I want to see on SecretSwap like right now is Monero, actually. Monero was like the first privacy coin that I ever got into, and I'm kind of a diehard of it, kind of the way that people are of Bitcoin. And I would really love to see Monero come in, and I think that would get us so much traction in other privacy-based communities. A lot of people just aren't aware of us or just aren't taking us seriously yet. And I think that's a big step towards people realizing that we're a major player.
I don't think that people realize how strong and solid of a community that Monero has because they're so private about it. But they have an incredible community of brilliant people that are privacy focused and do recognize the importance of it. And a lot of them go to extreme measures, which honestly is probably completely justified. And giving them access to DeFi, which is right now the hotspot and one of the huge developments of the crypto space that is going to be immediately applicable and useful in everyday life, is awesome because they won't go on Coinbase or Binance and KYC and completely dox themselves to get all this stuff. But now they're going to have access to lending platforms and all the awesome things that are actively being built on Secret Network without ever at any point having to give up all of their own personal information. And they have that option if they want to, which is cool and something they don't currently have with Monero. But now they can still, from buying in with whatever their native currency is through Monero, they're able to go through the bridge to get Secret Monero and to use Secret and to use any of the dApps built on Secret using Secret and still privacy preserving coins the entire time and using privacy preserving contracts the entire time. And so it gives them so much more access and so much more utility that they never had. So I know a lot of people are really focused on Terra, which is huge. And I love Terra. And I think that they are the future of stablecoins. But I think that Monero is even more applicably to us, going to be just absolutely exponentially huge.
Yeah, I think it's the vision of what Bitcoin was supposed to be. I mean, most people bought Bitcoin back in the day thinking that it was private and decentralized and all this, and that's really not all that private and not all that decentralized in comparison to projects like Monero. Monero is probably the most private currency that I'm aware of.
A lot of people think that pseudonymity equates to anonymity, and it does until it doesn't. Until you get doxxed one time. And then even then, like once your Ethereum address is compromised, then it always is compromised. And then even if you move things to a new Ethereum address, that one's compromised because they saw that interaction. So as soon as one thing you do is compromised, everything you do is compromised, unless you use specifically Secret Network and bridges there to go in, create a clean address and to regain your privacy. So even if you're not invested in Secret, the fact that the only way you can maintain security in your identity is through it is a huge use case that is honestly just a byproduct of the things that Secret does. And Bitcoin, you're already seeing governments like kind of freezing or not accepting Bitcoins, or people saying like, oh, I'll accept the Bitcoin specifically that comes from mined from a volcano in El Salvador, which honestly is super cool. I'm a huge fan of geothermal energy in general, but I want a volcano mined Bitcoin. I think that pseudonymity is going to be even less functional as we go forward. There are already companies actively trying to bridge the barrier between pseudonyms and actual addresses. There are already governments, including the US government, that's working on that and working at coming after projects like Uniswap and PancakeSwap so that they can make sure they get everyone's taxes. And with Secret Network, it's not people trying to dodge their taxes. You can keep your own KYC. You can prove all your own stuff. You have your viewing keys for that. But also you can maintain the privacy that you want to from any other bad actors who are coming after your information. There are so many scams in crypto already, let alone when everybody's information is public, which it is. Just the level of understanding of that publicity is ever growing. And the more it grows, the more dangerous it is.
Right. Well, it's all about control. You should be in control of your data and your keys and your crypto, no one else. It's one thing if you voluntarily decide to provide that information and to give up your viewing key to someone, but that should be your choice.
So one thing that makes SecretSwap completely unique, obviously it's giving privacy to the users in a way that other dexes don't. But one way that's useful is that SecretSwap is avoiding miner extracted value, which is something that other more prominent decentralized exchanges are currently trying to figure out. It just kind of happens by default. Do you want to run me through what miner extracted value is, how it works, and how SecretSwap has mitigated this problem?
Right. It's not SecretSwap itself that mitigates that problem. It's the protocol. It's the privacy from the network itself in combination with a traditional DEX. And it gives that protection. It makes it so that people can't reorder the order book, basically frack your transactions and take your money from you without you even knowing. That's what's going on in Ethereum. It's $1 billion problem. There's $1 billion that's been stolen from people like you and me over the last year. Gosh, and doesn't that make you want to throw up? Like that figure, oh my gosh, holy cow, dude. And that's a thing, that's something that you don't have to deal with if you have the privacy that you need. And nobody else has that on a public blockchain, and they're not going to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you full-heartedly. So where do you see SecretSwap in 1 year? We're recording this in July 2021. So where do you see this next July?
So my hope is to see us on a top 10 list of DeFi protocols. People may say that that's unrealistic, but I have a great deal of faith in this community. If we come together and really develop value mechanisms, really support each other's initiatives for progress, the protocol, the network, all these respective developments, and we come together and really put our boots on the ground, I think it's absolutely 100% possible. I think governance is going to be huge, and I've already seen just some amazing ideas put forth. And I think it's going to bring a great deal of things to the protocol in combination with all of those bridges and the influx of people that are going to be interested in Secret Network just because it's now connected to theirs.
That's an awesome and very attainable vision, honestly. Right now, it's very low just in terms of dexes, but it is unique, and most aren't. If Uniswap wants a feature where you can pay a little bit more and add privacy, they have to use Secret Network. And that's also something I'd like to see eventually come to SecretSwap, where other communities and other dexes have an option of routing through the bridges to add more of like a VIP, pay extra to gain anonymity, to gain privacy in your transactions and whatnot, because that's something that is uniquely secret. And as we build up our use cases for that, it's going to be great for the growth, not only of price, but also of adoption, which is imperative to get Secret Network involved and used everywhere in everyday life.
Absolutely. And having a DEX is just step one. We have a decentralized place to trade our privacy tokens and this wonderful interoperable privacy protocol that has these features. I mean, it just comes natively with the protocol. It's absolutely like nothing else.
Well, Iowa, thank you very much for coming on the show. Those are all the questions we have for you today. If someone in the community, somebody listening to this, would like to get in touch with you, would like to get involved with SecretSwap or the committee that you lead, how can they best reach out to you?
It's pretty simple. I'm at Iowascero everywhere. I can spell that at IOWASCERO. That's Twitter and Telegram, and it's on my Discord as well. I'm always in the Secret Network Discord server, and my committee meets every Saturday at 3:30 Central Standard Time.
And what is that in UTC?
8:30 p.m. UTC. And actually, if you go on to the SecretSwap committee charter on the SecretSwap forum, I have all that available, and I do also have here office hours as well. I just kind of pop up randomly in the SecretSwap room. I'll start a voice chat, and there's a converter there as well if you want to convert UTC for any of our meeting times.
Realistically, even if you have office hours at certain times, your office hours are always, because you're always available on Discord and Telegram. You are probably the most easy person to get a hold of, which is why we love having you here on this show, because for new people wanting to get involved, even if Iowa isn't the right person to connect to, he knows who is, and he's the easiest person to reach. So just hit him up. He's probably online on Telegram. Message him on Twitter, hit him up on the Discord, which you have the link right there in the episode, and join the Secret Network group and see how you could get involved as a secret agent and what communities you can most help in.
Absolutely. I'm always happy to help.
Well, Iowa, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thanks for the personal encouragement. Thanks for contributing to the podcast and being our first guest, and for being so easily available to community members. You're an awesome secret agent, and we look forward to getting more new users in touch with you so you can continue growing the community and the ecosystem the way you have been. It's an honor, bud.
I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you, gentlemen, for doing this. I think it's a great service to the community, and I'm looking forward to see what you guys put out.
Well, this concludes our discussion with Iowascero. If you like this content, follow us on Twitter at SecretCodePod. We will be on podcast apps and maybe YouTube soon. If you'd like to reach out to us with any questions about our content or input for future content, email us at secretcodepodcast@protonmail.com. If you'd like to learn more about Secret Network, click any of the applicable links provided in this episode description. Thank you for deciphering the secret code. For the community, by the community. New episodes every Sunday. Secret Sunday. Look, guys, you can't just be listening to every single outro hoping you're going to get some kind of Easter egg or alpha. I got nothing for you. Maybe next week after talking to Brendan from Whisper Nodes about Secret Agency and the Secret Starter.